Part 20.18 Surah Taha, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. The narrative of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, is a profound and poignant testament to the human heart's capacity for both magnificent faith and tragic betrayal. In our last discourse, Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, filled with spiritual longing and devotion, was on Mount Sinai receiving the divine tablets. It was in this intimate moment of closeness that Allah informed him of the great trial that had befallen his people in his absence, a trial that had led them into a terrible and shocking act of spiritual rebellion. The verses before us now capture the heart-wrenching moment of Prophet Moses's, peace be upon him, return. We witness his powerful emotional response, a heart torn between anger at his people's betrayal and sorrow at their spiritual downfall. This segment is a deep exploration of the consequences of unbridled human passion, the tragedy of idol worship, and the enduring strength of a prophet's mission, even in the face of profound disappointment. It is a timeless lesson in accountability and the insidious nature of temptation. From a Sufi perspective, this narrative is a stark reminder of the spiritual danger that lies in forgetting. The Israelites, who had just witnessed the magnificent power of Allah in their salvation, turned their hearts and their worship to a lifeless calf. This spiritual backsliding is a powerful symbol of the nafs al-amara, the commanding lower self, and its tendency to return to the familiar. They had been freed from the physical bondage of Pharaoh, but their hearts remained enslaved by the worldly attachments and spiritual customs of the Egyptians. The idol of the calf is not just a physical object. It is a manifestation of a spiritual disease, an internal sickness of the heart that seeks a tangible, visible object to worship instead of the formless, infinite Creator. Prophet Moses' peace be upon him. Sorrow and anger are not just personal emotions. They are the reflection of a spiritual truth that the greatest tragedy is not physical death, but the spiritual death of a heart that has turned its back on its Creator. This episode teaches us that the spiritual journey is one of continuous vigilance, where every moment is a test, and every choice can lead the heart either toward or away from its source. Kanzelaman, Quran, Taha, 22:86-90. 86. So Musa returned to his people, angry and sorrowful. He said, O my people, did your Lord not promise you a good promise? Did the time of my absence seem long to you? Or did you desire that the wrath of your Lord should descend upon you, so you broke your promise to me? 87. They said, we did not break our promise to you of our own accord, but we were burdened with the ornaments of the people, so we cast them in, and thus the Samiri cast into it too. 88. And he brought forth for them a calf, a mere body which made a mooing sound. So they said, this is your God and the God of Musa, but he forgot. 89. Did they not see that it did not return a word to them, and did not have the power to harm or benefit them? 90. And indeed Haroon had said to them before, O my people, indeed you are only being tested by it, and indeed your Lord is the most merciful. So follow me and obey my command. The verses begin with a powerful description of Prophet Moses's peace be upon him. Turn in the 86th verse. So Musa returned to his people. It's angry and sorrowful. The dual emotions of anger, gadban, and sorrow as fond, are profoundly significant. His anger is the righteous anger of a prophet whose people have betrayed their covenant with Allah. It is a powerful indignation at the injustice of their act. But his sorrow is a deeper, more personal emotion. It is the sorrow of a shepherd whose flock has gone astray, a father whose children have been led to ruin. His heart is torn between righteous fury and a profound grief for the spiritual tragedy that has unfolded. He confronts them with a series of sharp questions. O my people, did your Lord not promise you a good promise? He reminds them of all the magnificent blessings they had received, their salvation, the provision of manna and quails, and the promise of the divine law. He asks if his absence seemed long to you, hinting at their lack of patience and their spiritual immaturity. He then cuts to the heart of the matter with a devastating question. Or did you desire that the wrath of your Lord should descend upon you, so you broke your promise to me? This question implies that their act was not a mere mistake, but a conscious betrayal, a subconscious desire for a worldly God that could satisfy their baser desires. He is challenging their spiritual intent, asking them to confront the true motives behind their actions. The people's response, in the 87th verse, is a pathetic and weak attempt to evade responsibility. They said, "We did not break our promise to you of our own accord, but we were burdened with the ornaments of the people, so we cast them in." And thus the Samiri cast into it too. Their first statement is a denial of free will. We did not break our promise to you of our own accord. This is a classic human excuse, a refusal to take accountability for one's own actions. They then offer a ridiculous reason. They were burdened with the ornaments of the people, a reference to the gold jewelry they had taken from the Egyptians. They claim the physical weight of these ornaments somehow forced them to commit this spiritual crime. They then shift the blame completely to the Samiri, as if their own choice had no part in the matter. This excuse highlights their spiritual immaturity. They are like children caught in the act, trying to blame their tools and their friends, instead of accepting the weight of their own choices. The Sufi understands this as a powerful lesson on the self-deception of the NIFS, which is always quick to blame external factors for its internal spiritual failures. The 88th verse reveals the shocking conclusion of their spiritual betrayal. "And he brought forth for them a calf, a mere body which made a mooing sound. So they said, 'This is your God and the God of Musa,' but he forgot." The Samiri, with his cunning and guile, created a calf, a mere body, which had no life or soul. The fact that it made a mooing sound was a trick of wind passing through its hollow core, a deception that was enough to fool a people who were spiritually blind. And in a moment of utter spiritual tragedy, they declared, "This is your God and the God of Musa," but he forgot. This statement is the ultimate act of betrayal and delusion. They not only rejected their creator, but they also reimagined Prophet Moses's, peace be upon him, relationship with him. They accused him of forgetting the very Lord he had rushed to meet out of love. This shows the depth of their spiritual sickness, a sickness that completely twists reality to suit its own desires. They had chosen a God that was a tangible reflection of their worldly attachments, a God they could see and hear, a God that was nothing more than a lifeless imitation of the real. The 89th verse is a divine interjection, a rhetorical question that lays bare the irrationality of their actions. Did they not see that it did not return a word to them, and did not have the power to harm or benefit them? This question is a devastating spiritual indictment. It asks them to consider the most basic aspects of their idol. It was a silent, lifeless thing that could neither speak nor answer their prayers. It had no power to bestow a blessing or to ward off a harm. This verse exposes the sheer absurdity of their worship. It is a powerful reminder that a true believer's relationship with Allah is based on a profound and rational understanding of his attributes, his power, and his infinite love. The idol worship of the Israelites was a rejection of this rational and spiritual bond, and a descent into the lowest form of spiritual ignorance. Finally, the 90th verse provides a vital piece of context, revealing the steadfastness of Prophet Haroon, peace be upon him, and the ultimate stubbornness of the people. And indeed Haroon had said to them before, "O my people, indeed you are only being tested by it, and indeed your Lord is the most merciful. So follow me and obey my command." This verse confirms that the people's act was not a momentary lapse, but a conscious choice to disobey the prophet who was left in charge. Haroon, peace be upon him, had provided them with a clear warning. You are only being tested by it, a wise and profound statement that framed the idol as a mere trial. He reminded them of Allah's name, the most merciful, a final, compassionate appeal to their hearts. And he gave them a direct order, "So follow me and obey my command." But they chose to ignore him. This shows that their betrayal was not because of a lack of guidance, but a willful rejection of it. Their spiritual fall was a consequence of their own choices, and their rebellion was not against one prophet, but against Allah himself. Hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught, "The greatest of the great sins is to associate partners with Allah, to kill a soul which Allah has forbidden, and to be disobedient to one's parents." Sahih Muslim Hadith 89. This hadith beautifully explains the gravity of the Israelites' sin. Their act of making and worshipping the calf was the greatest of all sins. To associate partners with Allah, it was a direct and blatant violation of the very essence of their new covenant. This hadith reminds us that the foundational principle of all spiritual life is the oneness of Allah, and any act that compromises this principle is the gravest of all spiritual crimes. The Israelites, who had just witnessed the magnificent power of Allah, committed this very sin, and in doing so, they not only broke their covenant, but also committed the greatest of all sins in the sight of their Creator. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. Ya Allah, protect our hearts from the whispers of those who lead astray. Grant us the clarity to see the truth even when it is overshadowed by falsehood. Make us among those who are firm in their belief, who take responsibility for their actions, and who obey your commands without hesitation. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. The peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, ArRahman and ArRahim. Ameen.